Right folks, welcome back to Fishing with Kirk. So, bit of a treat for us today. So we're at S&R Fisheries near Craister, near Market Raisin, and we're fishing the fantastic Sandpit lake. So this is a lake that I've wanted to have a go on for quite a while. It's about 10 acres in size, there's about, I think 14 pegs on it. There's some cracking fish in it. It's a great head of fish, so there's over 500 fish in the lake. About 15 over 30 and a lot over 20 pounds, so a real cracking head of fish. And because the last session was a bit of a washout, what I've decided to do is treat myself today to a double peg. So we're fishing Alfies, but we've also got Lolas. So what that does is that gives us access to like the top bay of the lake. So I think this is a new part of the lake that's been dug in the last few years as a bit of an extension. I looked at the weather forecast last week and I saw that today, Wednesday, the pressure was dropping quite a lot. The wind was getting up from a southwesterly direction, so looked at the map, got the compass out, and I decided to opt for these pegs because I was hoping that the wind was going to be smacking right into the bank, and I've got it dead right at the minute. So you can see here, this is Alfie's peg, really spacious double peg, nicely wood chipped, and that's our view of the lake. So we've got all of this area of water to go at. We can fish up to the little island out there. We've got both sets of margins, and I've not even got the boat or the rod out yet to kind of understand any underwater features. So looks absolutely banging, conditions are ideal. So yeah, we're going to get the rods out and I'll talk you through the approach once I figure out what we're going to do. So fingers crossed, we're going to put some nice big S&R carp on the bank. Right, did you know that only 8% of the viewers who watch my videos have actually subscribed to the channel? So if you're one of the other 92% and you enjoy my videos, please can you just hit subscribe? Makes quite a big difference, and it's just going to mean that I'm going to be able to continue bringing you some top quality videos in the future as well. So thank you very much. Right folks, we got a plan. So Jack the bailiff's come round, had a word with me. Really top lad. He's fished his peg quite a number of times, and he's told me some areas where we might expect to get some bites. I've seen quite a few fish showing as well as we've been setting up, so the pressure's on. There's definitely some fish in the bay, so we're getting ready. We're going to have fish with 3 rods. In terms of rigs, feels really clear out there. It is an ex-sandpit, so the bottom is really clean. I've trucked around with the lead rod and I'm just getting nice sort of bumps up through the braid, so I'm pretty confident we're fishing over a clean bottom. So that means I can fish this rig. So I absolutely love this rig. So it's a multi-rig, I suppose. So this is a section of stiff fluorocarbon, so that's 25 pound boom section, and then underneath that blob of putty you've got an Albright knot to a section of supple braid. So you can see there you've got a real hinge where the 2 lines meet. To the end of there I've tied on one of the L&D sharps. So these are the new hooks that I'm using. So this is a curve shank in a size 6. Looks absolutely mean, like super aggressive position there. I've got a kicker on there just to kick the angle away, and if you can just make it out on the end of the hook, because the hand's sharpened, I'm just giving it a little tiny smear of the rust bust. So what I've noticed actually with hand sharpened hooks is if you're keeping them in the water for a while, they can start to just rust off. And then I've just finished that off. That's actually got a pop-up on there. That's one of our SC Bait spicy fish pop-ups. So that'll sit kind of nice and upright in the water like that. So we're going to get that in. On 2 rods we're going to fish for a bite, so over a handful of bait. I've been washing the boilies out for the last couple of days. So these are our SC Bait spicy fish. They're actually the frozen version because they do prefer to use frozen baits here at SNR. So all I've done with these is keep them in, I poured boiling water in, screwed the lid on, and basically left them for about, getting on for 2 days now. So these are really nice and soft. If I can just get one out for you and show you. So these will mimic a bait that's been in the lake for a day or 2. So minimal squeeze. The fish has just jumped there. Minimal squeeze, and that all opens up nicely. So real soft baits. Hopefully we're going to trick 1 or 2 of these beautiful sandpit carp before very long. So keep you posted. Right folks, got 2 rods in. just swapping over the third one because it's you got to use drop-off leads here, and I had a solid bag set up on my my third rod. Just want to share with you an item of terminal tackle. It's kind of an overlooked piece of tackle really, but something that I've been using for a while. I think it's mega good. So this stuff here is tubing. So again, this venue, like lots of venues, is tubing and lead clip arrangement only. So I've come across this set of tubing from a company called Rigmarole, and this is called free fall tubing. So unlike normal tubing, it's not rubber. It's basically a metal tube, so real kind of thin metal, and that's overwrapped with a kind of braided outer, so super soft on the carp as it's intended to be. But the beauty of this is A, it sinks like a brick because it's made of metal, and B, it's so easy to thread your main line through. So typically with normal tubing, it's a nightmare to get your line through, but you can just see there how quickly that's going through the tubing. So it saves you an absolute age on the bank. I mean, for me, it can literally take me 10 minutes to thread up some rubber tubing with line, because again, a lot of fisheries now are insisting that you use a minimum of a 15-pound main line, which is quite thick, to get through some tubing. But this stuff literally flies through. There you go, done. So that's come out the other side. So really good, and you get it in all sorts of different colours as well to match with the bottom that you're fishing over. This is a sandy colour because I'm fishing Sandpit. So really good. Check it out. Free fall tubing by Rigmarole. Right folks, so in terms of bait, I've just got a 3-pint bait up here. I'm just squishing up some of the SC baits, the spicy fish. Probably a third crushed boilies, a third whole boilies, and then I'm going to top it up with some lake pellet. So we're going to mix all that up with some of the DNA baits, hydro spod syrup. Massive fan of this for big fish. Mix that up fairly sloppy, and then this amount I'm going to put across 3 rods, so not a huge amount of bait, I guess just fishing for 1 bite at a time. I am going to feed an area quite heavily and leave that. So I'm basically going to got 3 rods. I'm going to fish 2 towards the left hand side, 1 towards the right hand side, and then in the middle of the peg I've found a plateau at 15 wraps. It goes from 8 feet up to 5 and back off again. So I'm going to put quite a lot of bait out and fairly regularly on that spot and not fish it for at least 24 hours. So I'm going to probably aim to put 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 kilos of bait on that spot over 24 hours, and then we'll have a look at that tomorrow to see if we can get any of the big fish to settle on that spot and gain some confidence. And then the first 24 hours we're just going to fish rigs where I've seen fish showing, where Jack the bailiff suggested, and just fishing for a bite over this mixture. I'm going to use the boat. Boats are allowed on here, so literally just going to boat it. 2 are going to be tight in the margins, and 1's going to be just off in probably about 6 feet of water. So let me get this mixed up, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll get it out. Right folks, here's the mix. It's got the pellets, the half boilies, the full boilies, and some of the spod syrup in there. And we're going to give them a scoop of that, probably about that much over each rod. So let's get the rods out. Right, let's get rod number 3 out there. So yeah, a nice dollop of the mixture in the boat, and then we're going to take that in front of the next peg to the extreme right hand side. So I've been round with the lead rod, feels pretty clean over there, so let's get a bait on it. Right, all 3 rods are in. What I'm actually going to try today is an old, I suppose, match fishing tactic. So feeding an area of the peg that you've got no intention of fishing for a while, and hopefully the fish come in, they find the bait, they get confident, and then perhaps tomorrow, maybe 24 hours time, we'll look to put a rod on that spot. So when I was having a go around with the boat with the echo sounder, I found a bar. It's about 15 wraps, pretty much in front of a skinny tree that's coming out of the water. So I'm going to try bait over the back of that, maybe try find 6 foot, so my line will go over the top of the plateau and be hidden, and we'll be fishing in 6 feet of water, the far side of the plateau. So what I'm going to do is put in a boat full to begin with, pretty much just a full hopper full of the washed out baits, full boilies, not messing around, just going to go straight in with full baits, put that on the spot and look to top that up 2, 3, maybe 4 times in the next 24 hours, and then we'll get a rod on it tomorrow, and hopefully there'll be a fish or 2 out there that's got used to that food source. So let's get that out there as well. Fish on, sports fans. It's about 3:45 and we've just had a little bite on the left hand rod, so see what we got on. Seen a few fish, quite a few fish showing. Let's see what we've got on the end. Keeping quite deep, quite a dogged fight. In fairness, the fish I've seen jumping out have not been particularly big, so we'll see. I think there's over 500 fish in the lake, about 15 30s and a lot of 20s. Got this bite on the left hand rod, so this was about 6 foot off the bank opposite the second willow tree that you can see there. SC baits wafter, combi rig over a generous scoop full of the pellet and boilie mixture. So like I said, just enough bite to get a bait, just enough bait to get a bite. So just enough bait to get a bite. Scaly one. What a start. Now that is a cracker right off the bat. Absolutely beautiful looking fish. I think we've got a 20, which is great. I need to get Jack down to come and have a look at it and weigh it. But yeah, looks like a fully scaled mirror, low 20 pounder. So what a start, fantastic. Okay, so not quite 20 pound. Just pretty much bang on 19, but what a fish to start with. But yeah, what a gorgeous looking fish. So 19 pound, pretty much on the nose, fully scaled mirror, absolutely gorgeous. Hey Siri, say cheese. So 19 pound, fully scaled mirror. Been fishing 3 or 4 hours. Absolutely brilliant start. Let's get him back. Right folks, just had a cracking fully scaled mirror. So thought it was over 20, wasn't. It was a 19 bang on the nose, but you know, when they look that good, fish of that size is absolutely amazing. So rod's back out, left hand rod back where we just had that other bite. I'm starting to get a few indications and liners on the middle and the right hand rod. Kind of interesting that I'm back-leaded as well, so you do think back-leading, trying to keep everything nailed down, and I am still getting some little indication. Yeah, hopeful we're going to get another. The wind's still coming down here, still seeing the odd fish showing. Yeah, really good start to the session. Rightio, quick update. So it's 5:45. I've just redone the rods. I was getting some funny indications on the middle rod. Reeled it in, and there was a fair bit of weed on the hook, and that was the only rig that I'd actually fished on a pop-up. So I'm just thinking that I might have just got caught in a little bit of weed, and there was perhaps some fish came in and sort of wiped out the loose feed. So I've replaced that with a wafter, put it back on a similar spot, and we'll see what happens. So again, conditions feel great. Going to grab some tea shortly, and hopefully we'll get a couple of bites in the next hour or two. Wow. Right gang, second fish on, it's about 6:30. Really interesting little situation there. So we're fishing on a back lead, kind of a drop on the bobbin, and the fish must have swam towards us. I must have got 10 turns on the reel before I've actually got into the fish. So yeah, happy days, we've got one on. This is over to the right hand margin. We'll just reset it maybe 15 minutes ago. So yeah, let's see what we've got on. It's certainly taking a bit of line. Dead weight, this one. So I've hooked this on quite a long combi rig. This is a 9-inch combi rig, which is quite an unusual one, but I've just fancied fishing something a little bit different because the fish in here get quite a bit of pressure. One of the size 4 curve shanks on and just a 12mm wafter, so I fished a really small hook bait amongst the free offerings. So I'm calling big fish here. This is just absolutely hugging the bottom. Feels like it's snagging up, but it's just stopping swimming, I think. What a battle. I've got a right scrapper on here. Feels like a catfish. Come on, fella. Oh, lady. Woohoo! That is a good fish. Wowee, that is a lovely mirror. A little bit bigger than the last one, I think. Get in. Right, folks. It's not even 7 PM yet. And we just had our second fish. 25 pound, 4 ounce, Sandpit Lakes, mirror carp. Absolutely pristine. We caught that off that right hand margin where we've been having some indications. Reset the rig, rebaited, and within 15 minutes the rod was away with this fella on the end, so can't beat that for a fish, can you? What a fish. Right, let's get him back. Morning folks, right, it's Thursday morning, about 8:15, just redone the rods after a good night's sleep sadly, so no action. A little bit surprising, but I have heard from a few people that this is not really a nighttime venue. Typically you get most of the bites during the day, so all good. The wind's kind of hacking down this end again, so that quietened off late evening last night. That's come back fairly strongly this morning, so hopefully the fish follow that. Stuck with the same plan, got the rods in the same 3 spots, and I've just put another probably kilo of boilies over that spot at 15 wraps that we're going to have a go on later on this afternoon. So yeah, we'll get a rod on that probably mid-late afternoon and see if we can catch one off there. So yeah, time for a brew, see if we can catch any more. Right folks, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm just going to put another boatload of bait out over the spot that we've been feeding and leaving alone. Then going to probably reel the rods in. Going to nip up to the shop, just have half an hour away from the rods, and then come back, and we're going to probably put a rod then over the spot that we've been baiting. So we've given them some bait. So this is basically what I've fed more or less every time. So that's pretty much a full hopper full of spicy fish boilies and the house pellets, and then I've just put some glug over the top of that. So that spot's probably had, say, 6 kilo on it without any rods on it. So I'm hopeful that over 24 hours we've built up some confidence and we'll get a few fish off that shallow plateau. That'd be great. So I'm going to get this bait out, and we're just going to have a little rest for half an hour, and then get back at it. Right then, it's about midday. I've just got back from the shop, so just want to note there's a co-op, there's a fish and chip shop in Caister itself, which is about 5 minutes drive away. So if you do need to nip to a shop, it's all pretty handy. So I've got back, I've redone the rods, I've redone the hooks on 2 of them. They're just needed sharpening up a touch, so putting new hooks on. Staying with the plan to a degree, so the left hand rod towards the second willow where we got the first fish is back on that spot. And then what was the middle rod is now the right hand rod, and that's in the right hand margin where we got the 25-pound fish. So the thing I've changed is I've come away from fishing right in the corner in front of the next peg, and I've now got a middle rod on the spot that we've been kind of heavily baiting with boilies. So put that out there, and within about 2 minutes I got an indication on the bobbin. So clearly, you know, there was a fish there, and there was a couple of fish showed up on the fish finder as well towards that area. So I'm hopeful. I think the fish have backed off right out of the bay, and they're just sort of hanging on probably the limit of this peg, if I'm honest. You know, I'm getting towards the little island in the middle. So we've got a bait on there. Let's see if we catch one over that bait. We've still got another 18 hours or so fishing, so plenty of time to get another bite or 2. But yeah, so far so good with the 2 cracking fish yesterday. Fish on folks, similar time to yesterday. It's about 5 o'clock. This guy's not happy. That right hand rod spot, that right hand spot. So this was a spot where we had the 25 yesterday. I changed the rig up a bit on this because I was not happy that the bottom was completely clear across there, so I've put on a coated braid rig. Oh, that's come off. Ah, disaster. Ah, hook pull. Heartbreaker. Right, so we just pulled out of one. So that's the only sign we've had all day. Kind of interestingly, the hook's come back, and the point's just completely blunt on it. So which is really strange that would happen. So I don't even know if that fish was foul hooked. The way it set off, it went like an absolute rocket, which is quite unusual as well. It just kind of went fast, and the fact the hook is blunt and come back is really not usual. So I don't know. I'm going to call that a foul hooker. Feels like that's gone into a fin somewhere, blunted and pulled out when it's shot off. So we're going to get the rig tied back up, get it back out there. I'm going to catch another one. Okay, it's about 8 o'clock. Just been watching the Corda underwater video, the latest one, and I guess the key takeaways from that are shorter rigs are the way forward. The best rig that the guys found with the underwater footage was effectively a 3-inch Ronnie with a long shank hook, and they actually put a little weight on the sort of off the point of the hook to keep the hook pointing down. I've not got any of those weights, but I have tied up a kind of real short Ronnie rig with one of the long shank hooks on. So I'm going to give that a whirl on one of my rigs. It does look a little bit wrong to my eye, it just looks far too short, but logic being that the fish, you know, immediately as soon as they pick that up, they're feeling the weight of the lead. So I'm going to give it a whirl, and if I catch a fish, I owe Danny Fairbrass a pint, so let's see how it goes. So many indications on that middle rod. I've just lifted it up. Driving me crackers. It's literally, that was a screamer. Picked it up, nothing on. Crazy. Might be a ghost carp. Folks, it's about 4 in the morning. Just before dawn, just had an absolute one-toner on the left-hand rod, so at the left-hand margin. Yeah, had a bit of a disaster because the camera's got blown over in all that wind, but we've got it pretty close to the edge now. Doesn't feel massive in fairness, but really, really super welcome. So I'm just going to put my red torch back on and let's see what we've got. Brilliant stuff. There we go. Lovely looking mirror. Certainly not as big as the ones from yesterday, but very, very welcome nonetheless. But yeah, nailed that on the short Ronnie rig after watching that Corder underwater video. So I'll show you the rig in a bit more detail tomorrow. But I suppose, being a man of my word, Danny Fairbrass, if you're watching, I know you're a big fan of the channel, give me a call and I'll buy you that pint. Right, let's get the hook out of him. Right folks, here we go. So £15 on the nose of beautiful Sandpit mirror carp. So all of these fish have been real good quality fish. There you go, look at that. Lovely 15-pounder. Pristine mirror carp. 3:30 in the morning. Happy days. Hey Siri, say cheese. Right folks, good morning. It's Friday morning. It's about 7:30 and we're just starting the slow pack up. So another fish overnight, so really good quality 15-pound mirror, absolutely lovely fish. Woke me up at 3:30. Really struggled to get back to sleep after that one. I was buzzing. But yeah, unfortunately no more action. We've probably got the rods in the water for another hour while we get everything else packed up. But no, we've had a great time at S&R Fisheries. You know, everything about it's been classed. You know, the bailiffs are really good. They sort of gave me some great advice to begin with. You got the tackle shop with all the bait and bits of tackle that you need. The swims are amazing. I mean, I'll just show you the sort of quality of the swims. So you've got these kind of like railway sleepers going around it, and this is all then wood chipped. And then basically underneath that wood chip you've got sand, because it's an old sandpit, so getting your pegs in for your bivvies is an absolute dream, and it's a really good hold as well, which is just as well because it was pretty windy last night. In terms of the fishing, you know, I think 4 bites in 48 hours for fish of this quality is pretty good going. I think the lake's been fairly tough. Not had a bite over that big area of bait, so I wouldn't, well, I suppose it's just a similar thing, you know, everywhere I've been it's pretty rare that you get a hit of fish over a massive quantity of bait like that, so I'm learning that probably save myself a few quid in the future and just fish for a bite at a time, and that's really how I've caught the other fish. So, you know, a scoop and a half full of the pellets and boilie mixture, you know, DNA baits, hydro, spodding it all up, and then just fishing a sort of single wafter bait over the top of it's been the way. I did change to a shorter rig last night after watching that Corda underwater video, so that was, well, got me a bite on it. So I'm not saying it's, you know, the be all and end all, but it's certainly got me a bite. So yeah, Danny Fairbrass, are you a pint? But yeah, it's been good, and definitely a venue that I'd like to come back and visit again in the future. So just got the kettle on, just gonna have a coffee, and then we're going to start to get packed up. Lovely morning. We did have quite a lot of rain about 5 AM, so everything's pretty wet, so I'm just gonna have to hope that some of it dries off before we get it in the car. But for now, yeah, tight lines. I'll see you on the back next time.